I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. So now we again continue reading in the Doctrine and Covenants. What we read last in section 104 was the dissolving of the United Order in Kirtland. But just prior to that, we read God's command to organize the camp of Israel and redeem Zion. That was section 103. Now, pursuant to this command, a number of men start circling around in March and April to gather the strength of the Lord's house, and they march out with Zion's camp in May. It's a 2-month trip out to Missouri, thinking that Governor Dunklin in Missouri will marshal the state militia to restore the saints to their land in Jackson County, at which point the camp of Israel would become a defensive unit to protect the saints in their land. The governor decides he can't do it. It is not politically expedient to side with the Mormons. So Joseph Smith goes and prays to the Lord of what to do. And that is where we get section 105 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Now the heading to section 105 states, Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet on Fishing River, Missouri, June 22nd, 1834. Recorded in the History of the Church, page 108 to 111. Mob violence against the saints in Missouri had increased, and organized bodies from several counties had declared their intent to destroy the people. The prophet had come from Kirtland at the head of a party known as Zion's Camp, bringing clothing and provisions. While this party was encamped on Fishing River, the prophet received this revelation. Now it was just a few days before this, on the 19th, that a large army of the mob, about 400 men, were stopped by a massive storm. And I talk about that in my video on Zion's Camp, so we won't get into too much detail here, but this is a couple of days later. After they have a meeting, I can't remember if it was just before the storm or just after the storm, that they get word from the governor that he's not going to be sending any aid through the militia. So, seeing that the plan was not going to work, Joseph Smith prays and receives this revelation. Notice it also says that the mob violence had increased, and that is partly in response to Zion's camp coming. They knew that this army was marching towards Missouri when it was back in Indiana, and the people have been preparing for it. And so mobs had been going out throughout Missouri, wherever the saints are, and the violence had been, or at least the threat of violence had increased. But now let us read section 105. Okay. Remember, you have to be looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Come on, look at the camera. Look at the camera and say hi. You're not there you go. Now you're looking at the camera. Are you done? Are you getting off now? So now we will read section 105 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Verily I say unto you, who assembled yourselves together, that you may learn my will concerning the redemption of my afflicted people. Behold, I say unto you, were it not for the transgressions of my people, speaking concerning the church and not individuals, they might have been redeemed even now. But behold, they have not learned to be obedient to the things which are required at their hands, but are full of all manner of evil, and do not impart of their substance as becometh saints to the poor and afflicted among them, and are not united according to the union required by the law of the celestial kingdom. And Zion cannot be built up unless it be by the principles of the law of the celestial kingdom. Otherwise I cannot receive her unto myself. And my people must needs be chastened, until they learn obedience, if it must needs be by the things which they suffer. I speak not concerning those who are appointed to lead my people, who are the first elders of my church, for they are not all under this condemnation. But I speak concerning my churches abroad. There are many who will say, Where is their God? Behold, he will deliver them in time of trouble. Otherwise we will not go up unto Zion, and will keep our monies. Therefore, in consequence of the transgressions of my people, it is expedient in me that mine elders should wait for a little season for the redemption of Zion, that they themselves may be prepared, and that my people may be taught more perfectly, and have experience, and know more perfectly concerning their duty, and the things which I require at their hands. And this cannot be brought to pass until mine elders are endowed with power from on high. For behold, I have prepared a great endowment and blessing to be poured out upon them, inasmuch as they are faithful and continue in humility before me. Therefore it is expedient in me that mine elders should wait for a little season for the redemption of Zion. Pause it there a minute. Zion cannot be redeemed except by a Zion people. If we are not living according to the laws of Zion, meaning the laws of the celestial kingdom, we cannot have Zion. Zion is the pure in heart. It is those who are in one with God. The saints at this time, not all, but many, were not one with God. They were not living a Zion life. Therefore Zion cannot be redeemed. Zion cannot rise until we are worthy of it. But note here that he's not talking about the leaders. He's not saying that the presiding elders are at fault. Some of them individually might be, but most of the leaders, they're good. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Who is he condemning here? He is condemning the saints in the churches scattered abroad. He called on his strength, the strength of his saints, to come and redeem Zion. If you couldn't go personally, you were to send money. You were to give assistance in any way you could. But the people weren't doing it. As he says there, the people are saying, well, let God redeem them. I'm not going to give my money. If they're the people of God, then God can save them. But God is saying here, yes, God could save them. Right now, I have the power to go in there and restore them to their lands. But it would do them no good because the saints aren't ready for Zion. And if I did, it would only condemn them more. We must live a Zion life before Zion can rise. Zion doesn't rise and then bring people to perfection. It is people come to perfection, and through that, they build up Zion. So the time is not yet ready for the redemption of Zion because the people, the saints as a general body, specifically those in the branches scattered abroad, are not willing to do what is necessary to build up Zion. But let us continue, verse 14. For behold, I do not require at their hands to fight the battles of Zion. For, as I said in a former commandment, even so will I fulfill. I will fight your battles. Behold, the destroyer I have sent forth to destroy and lay waste mine enemies. And not many years hence they shall not be left to pollute mine heritage and to blaspheme my name upon the lands which I have consecrated for the gathering together of my saints. Behold, I have commanded my servant Joseph Smith Jr. to say unto the strength of my house, even my warriors, my young men and middle-aged, to gather together for the redemption of my people, and throw down the towers of mine enemies, and scatter their watchmen. But the strength of mine house have not hearkened unto my words. But inasmuch as there are those who have hearkened unto my words, I have prepared a blessing and an endowment for them, if they continue faithful. I have heard their prayers, and will accept their offering. And it is expedient in me that they should be brought thus far for a trial of their faith. And now, verily I say unto you, a commandment I give unto you, that as many as have come up hither, that can stay in the region round about, let them stay. And those that cannot stay, who have families in the east, let them tarry for a little season, inasmuch as my servant Joseph shall appoint unto them. For I will counsel him concerning this matter, and all things whatsoever he shall appoint unto them shall be fulfilled. And let all my people who dwell in the regions round about be very faithful and prayerful and humble before me, and reveal not the things which I have revealed unto them, until it is wisdom in me that they should be revealed. Talk not of judgments, neither boast of faith nor of mighty works, but carefully gather together as much in one region as can be, consistently with the feelings of the people. And behold, I will give unto you favor and grace in their eyes, that you may rest in peace and safety, while you are saying unto the people, execute judgment and justice for us according to law, and redress us of our wrongs. Now behold, I say unto you, my friends, in this way you may find favor in the eyes of the people, until the army of Israel becomes very great. And I will soften the hearts of the people, as I did the heart of Pharaoh from time to time, until my servant Joseph Smith Jr. and mine elders, whom I have appointed, shall have time to gather up the strength of my house, and to have sent wise men to fulfill that which I have commanded concerning the purchasing of all the lands in Jackson County that can be purchased, and in the adjoining counties round about. For it is my will that these lands should be purchased, And after they are purchased, that my servants should possess them according to the laws of consecration which I have given. And after these lands are purchased, I will hold the armies of Israel guiltless in taking possession of their own lands, which they have previously purchased with their monies, and of throwing down the towers of mine enemies that may be upon them, and scattering their watchmen, and avenging me of mine enemies unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. We got 3 parts to this that we just read. First, God is already sending his destroyer against his enemies. The saints don't have to fight the battle. God's going to fight it. And again, this is prophesying the Civil War and the destruction that comes on to Missouri. Remember, Missouri, by percentages, has the most deaths of any state in the Civil War. Not by total number, but a higher percentage of the men of Missouri are killed in the Civil War than in any other state. It is some of the worst fighting in the Civil War. We then have this promise to the leaders that they will receive a great blessing. This is talking about the endowment. Now, up to this point, the ordinance of the endowment that we now have in the temple has never been given. The saints don't have this ordinance yet. They don't get it until the Kirtland Temple is built. And this is God promising that this ordinance will be given. The endowment ordinance is not just an ordinance. It is an endowment of power. An endowment is something given. We are being endowed with power from God when we receive the endowment. And God is here saying that until the leaders receive this endowment, they are not going to have the full power of heaven behind them because they have not yet received this power. We then have this, if those who came down with Zion's camp, some should stay here, start settling, help the saints out, be permanent residents. Others stay for a little season and then return. But also continue to buy land whenever possible in Jackson County so that you have a legal right to it. And in the end, God will restore the saints to the land that they have purchased. If they sell the land, they have no legal right to it. And if they don't buy it, they have no legal right to it. So they are being here commanded to buy, even though they have been driven out of Jackson County, they are still being commanded, buy the land so that in the future, God can justify you in reclaiming the land. But let us finish this section, verse 31. But first, let my army become very great, and let it be sanctified before me, that it may become fair as the sun, and clear as the moon, and that her banners may be terrible unto all nations, that the kingdoms of this world may be constrained to acknowledge that the kingdom of Zion is in very deed the kingdom of our God and his Christ. Therefore let us become subject unto her laws. Verily I say unto you, it is expedient in me that the first elders of my church should receive their endowment from on high in my house, which I have commanded to be built unto my name in the land of Kirtland, and that those commandments which I have given concerning Zion and her law be executed and fulfilled after her redemption. There has been a day of calling, but the time has come for a day of choosing, and let those be chosen that are worthy. And it shall be manifest unto my servant by the voice of the Spirit, those that are chosen, and they shall be sanctified. And inasmuch as they follow the counsel which they receive, they shall have power after many days to accomplish all things pertaining to Zion. And again I say unto you, sue for peace, not only to the people that have smitten you, but also to all people, and lift up an ensign of peace, and make a proclamation of peace unto the ends of the earth, and make proposals for peace unto those who have smitten you, according to the voice of the Spirit which is in you, and all things shall work together for your good. Therefore be faithful, and behold, and lo, I am with you, even unto the end. Even so, amen. So we have here a second reference to Zion building its armies. Those armies are great. Now this doesn't mean just in numbers, but in faith, in power from on high. And when they finally come in and they march in and they redeem Zion, the kingdoms of the world will have to acknowledge that Zion is the kingdom of God. When they finally come in and reclaim Zion, it will be with such power and glory that nobody on the earth can deny the power of God. Just like when Israel came out of Egypt, the power that God displayed was such that all the nations in Canaan and in the area around it, when Israel came marching through, they all knew that God was God. And they all feared the camp of Israel. It's going to be the same thing. But note also here says, there has been a day of calling, but the time has come for a day of choosing. All men were called to come to Zion, to march with the camp of Israel to redeem Zion. Because of the unbelief, the pride and greed of people, Zion has not been redeemed, but the people have been prepared. This has been a time of testing, a trial of faith. And now that their faith has been tried, now they will be chosen. And from here, we get the apostles and the first quorum of the 70. Almost all of them chosen from Zion's camp. Those who have proven their faith. They were called, they accepted the calling, now they are chosen. So that's what we're talking about here. He is prophesying or stating that we are now going to call these men. And that will happen about 7 months later in February of 1835. So remember that all these things work together for our good. God doesn't do anything that is not for our benefit. Anyways, this is getting too long, so I'm going to leave it here, and I will see you probably in section 106 next. Might be my Zion's Camp video, but we will see how it goes then. We'll see you there.